All right, let's move to the story. A family in the Free State have contacted the police. They believe one of the bodies, apparently claimed by Dr. Nandipa Magudumana just days before Thabo Bester's daring escape from prison, is in fact their relative. Now, of course, you'll remember that over the weekend, Katlego Mpolo's body was identified as the body that was burnt in Thabo Bester's cell. But we have also heard that 3 bodies in total were claimed by Bester's accomplice to potentially be used in the cell. eNCA senior reporter Aviwe Mtila is following this latest lead, and he joins us now. So, Aviwe, this is another family that believes one of the other bodies may be their child. This is the father you spoke to. It's Godfrey Leso. Just tell us all about them.
Okay, so Godfrey Leso is the 66-year-old Sally that went missing in September 2021. So the family believes that, of course, after this news surfaced that Dr. Nandipa Magudumana was claiming a number of bodies, one of them dumped, we do understand, an elderly person that was claimed and later dumped in a river with that mortuary tag. They believe that possibly this could be the person. Godfrey Leso went missing in September, and the last time the family saw him was when the sister of Godfrey Leso took him to a taxi in Kimberley as he made his way back to Bloemfontein, where he stays. And of course, after he went missing, they contacted the taxi driver, who confirmed that yes, indeed, he was in this taxi. They dropped him off at the Majagatata taxi rank in Bloemfontein, and that was the last time he was seen alive. So now the family has made contact with the police, and they were taken to the mortuary just last Wednesday on the 19th of April. And they were supposed to view the 2 bodies that were there, but because of the decomposed state, they couldn't view the bodies. But the DNA tests were done, and the results are yet to be back. In fact, I spoke to Isaac Moletsi, who is the brother-in-law of 66-year-old Godfrey Leso. So let's just take a listen to what he had to say.
We got there with the instruction of one of the brigadiers in the Free State to say, we go to the detective's office, and they've got to arrange for us to go identify those 2 bodies. 2 DNA samples for the sisters must be taken, of which they did. Then, unfortunately, when we later went to the government mortuary, we were not allowed to go see those 2 bodies, because the gentleman, the detective assigned to us, told us that they are in a bad decomposed state, and the only thing that we can do, he suggested another set of DNA tests, of which it was taken from my wife and her sister, to which against those 2 bodies, it will be determined whether it is our relative or not.
All right, so just for a point of clarity, when he talks about 2 bodies, the allegation is that Dr. Nandipa actually managed to fraudulently claim 3 bodies from various mortuaries, only one of which was used, and the one, of course, in the cell was Katlego Mpolo. So now we're talking about Godfrey Leso as potentially the body that was dumped in the river with the tag on the foot. What does he mean when he's talking about 2 bodies? Are we talking about the second and third possible bodies?
So there's a bit of confusion in terms of the number of bodies that Dr. Magudumana claimed from these mortuaries, Sally. We heard in Parliament when I was there in Cape Town that it was 3 bodies, but if you ask the police, and I remember having those conversations even on the sidelines, they mentioned 2 bodies that Dr. Nandipa claimed. The one that was claimed on the 8th of April, then later found on the 9th of April, and then the second one would be the charred body then of Katlego Mpolo that already has been identified. So this DNA test was done on the Wednesday. That's before the Mpolo family was alerted. So I'm assuming that also they were in the lurch as well, with the DNA done for them, and then they knew only on the weekend. But the police haven't come back to give this particular family the outcome of those DNA results. It's all interesting, Sally. I was even speaking to experts just around what could possibly have transpired, and the experts suggest that there is a huge possibility that these people were actually profiled by the accused in terms of the height of Bester and where they actually got it wrong when it comes to Katlego Mpolo, because he was 10 centimeters shorter, for example, or just the weight of Bester or his complexion, and were profiled while they were still alive, tracked, and then later on killed. In fact, that's one of the suggestions I got from a crime expert from TUT, Professor Jacob Mofokeng. It seems like you want to...
I want to ask a quick question. Why would you bump someone off and then let them go to a mortuary? Wouldn't you keep the body? You know, that's what I don't understand. So it's an interesting theory. We'll listen to Mr. Mofokeng because, of course, we don't know the facts yet. So let's take a listen.
The fact that we now can link this person in the Thabo Bester cell to a person who was alive, you know, prior to be planted in the cell, and then one could even see that the blunt object was utilized, then there's a possibility that these other people, you know, could have been also, you know, and been killed, you know. So for whatever reasons, we you know, if we look at the features of Katlego, then they made the mistakes, either because they were in a hurry to say that then this person resembles the person of Thabo Bester. So that's why then there was a slide of either 10 centimeter, you know, as compared with Thabo Bester, as well as the weight of, you know, of Katlego. So it could be that these people also, these other bodies, then they could be identified. You know, we see a possibility where people were profiled whilst they were still alive, you know, so that they can fit a particular purpose, like in the case of, you know, Katlego now being killed and then, you know, being smuggled into a cell.
I mean, we simply don't know, do we? You know, we know that Katlego Mpolo was murdered because there was that blunt force trauma to the head that was identifiable even after he was burned in the cell. We don't know who killed him, and we do know that his family had been looking for him for months, and then it was confirmed that he had in fact died and was in that cell. With Godfrey, we don't even know who he is.
Whether it is,
if it is him, if that body is him,
because
or
Godfrey
not.
was missing from last 2021 in September
already. It's a long time to be missing, but I suppose he could have, yeah, there's so many possibilities. But I'm pretty sure that we're going to get the answers quite soon. The DNA results should be out in about a week, I think you said. So it'll be very interesting to find out. Gosh, what a story to unravel. Thank you very much for bringing us the very latest. That's our reporter, senior reporter, Aviwe Mtila, just on the latest around that Thabo Bester escape.